Which brings us to our next topic, and that is WWE ticket prices. I mean, what happens in this competitive marketplace? Brandon has scoured the Pollstar data, and you have taken a look at WWE ticket prices specific to Raw and SmackDown. And what have your findings been? Have we? I remember there was a time that WWE used to market itself as the most family-friendly prices in entertainment. Where are we at right now?
Well, so I looked at what is this data? It's Pollstar data, which is Pollstar is a website and a company that follows the live event business, and we can get some data from them. However, they get it through Ticketmaster audits or whatever it may be. And so we don't have data for every single WWE event, but we have data for a lot of them. And we have this going all the way back to part of 1999. So I made a chart. So the Pollstar data has gates, has grosses, basically the amount of revenue that was sold, the amount of revenue that was generated based on ticket sales. And I narrowed this to Raw and SmackDown. So we've excluded the house shows, which are, changing and, they're diminishing in number over time. And I didn't include pay-per-views, which can be very variable and can be all different prices. But so we just focused on the weekly events that have been happening, twice a week for, since 1999. And we know that Mark Shapiro has been out there talking about margin expansion and raising the prices. And, Vince McMahon was not quite maximizing the opportunity. He was pricing for families. And Mark Shapiro sounds like he's not even satisfied yet with where ticket prices are. In any case,
margin expansion, adjusted EBITDA, margin expansion.
Yes, the non-GAAP measure. So you've heard lots of complaints online, I'm sure, about how tickets are so expensive for WWE these days. So I decided to look to see if there's good data to back this up, and no surprise, there is. It's about doubled. So, and I adjusted this for inflation. So no inflation excuses here.
Oh man, the people, they had their bows and arrows out for you.
Yep. And what used to be a $60 ticket price before the TKO merger is now, year to date in 2025, about 120. I've got 118 when it was in the year right before, about 59 or 60 or something like that. So, and again, this is Raw and SmackDown only. And the natural, and this is a dramatic spike, right? It's not like this is just a linear progression that it was on its way to. This is a pretty dramatic spike upon the first full year, 2024, and into 2025, continuing to rise upon the closing of the merger. I think it's fair to suppose that this is part of strategy, and you got Mark Shapiro basically saying that it is. Now, the natural question is, well, is this really any different than what's going on in live events generally? We've been hearing, especially since the pandemic, how
concerts are so expensive these days.
How popular live events are, and look at the Taylor Swift tickets. And now there may be something. I did not look at the secondary market here, but if you look at Pollstar did this article at the end of 2024 where they went through what's the average North American ticket price for North American touring acts. And I assume that's largely concerts. And it was slightly down from 2023 to 2024, where it was, and this is adjusting for inflation in terms of real dollars, it was 144 in 2023, down a few dollars to 140. So now you could say, look, the average WWE ticket price is still, if it's $120, it's still less than the average concert ticket. You could say that. I'm sure it's less than whatever the average UFC ticket is. But you do get that data, showing you that, well, it's not as if, there is this increase from 2021 to 2022 to 2023, where it goes from about 100 to 123 to 144, but it's flat from 23 to 24. So this is well beyond what the general market is doing. Suffice to say, for AEW, they're going in the opposite direction. If anything, their ticket prices on the average have diminished from 2022 to the present, where they were at $58 in 2022. Now they're at about $49. Now, granted, we've got a limited number of samples because AEW is a top secret organization. They've got their information on lockdown. They tried to get a government entity in the esports stadium to agree to a confidentiality clause and not disclose any information about their live events. So we've only got 6 samples in 2025, whereas we had more samples in the past. So they're possibly reacting to our dragging the river for Pollstar data here. I also looked at Live Nation. Live Nation is consistent with what we saw in Pollstar in that the average ticket price is not exploding in conjunction with the trends that we're seeing from WWE.
Yes. But when AEW does announce any upcoming events, you would still get that press release, though, right? They're not that secretive?
Perhaps.
Okay. Yeah, I encourage people to go. This is up at patreon.com/Wrestlenomics. The full
It's
breakdown.
free for everybody as well. Yes.
Okay. Well, go to Wrestlenomics.com. I support the Patreon. That's my bookmark.
Please do.
Page. But yeah, it's an interesting comparison point when you're looking at other live events, and even like The Athletic reporting that NFL prices actually declined slightly this past season, though the NBA is surging at this point. But the up until this past season, like NBA tickets were priced in line with what WWE prices are right now. They have since surpassed that, but this is, it's a major growth that WWE has undergone. I guess the last point to your piece, Brandon, and we've kind of been monitoring this of late. Like WWE attendances are still they are doing outstanding numbers. They are still typically for TVs averaging in the 10,000 range, and
right, that's an important point. We got people complaining about the ticket prices, understandably, because it's becoming less affordable, especially for a fan base that the television viewership data that we do have from a couple of years ago, from 2023, about income levels, is that, no surprise that the median the income level for the typical wrestling TV viewer is well below the median income for the United States. So these prices being high is especially unsettling for wrestling fans, I would think. And you think that they're getting punished now. The attendance is going down in response to these ticket prices, right? No, it's not the case. Well, but WrestleMania, I didn't like WrestleMania. I think the creative's getting worse. They're getting punished, right? Economic justice? No, it's not happening. Raw and Smackdown's average attendance, according to WrestleTix, is actually up in 2025 year to date from 2024. Continuing what is now the 4th consecutive year of significant increase in their average attendance for Raw and SmackDown. No economic justice here, just profitability and margin expansion.